Do you want to put your mute on and your video mute until it's time, or?
Sure, let's do that.
All right, sweetie. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I love you. Bye-bye. What's this? Why is there a Lisa?
Do you want to put your mute on and your video mute until it's time, or?
Sure, let's do
All
that.
right, sweetie. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
There we go. That's what we want to see. Okay, now I'm gonna get myself back up there. Hey, Charlie.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Are you able to put something on the YouTube chat?
Oh, sure. I've got to, in a second, I got to get to it. It's your personal YouTube?
No, on the live feed that we're just starting now.
Okay, but is it the CCB YouTube or your personal?
Yes, CCB.
Okay.
And what I'd like you to do at your leisure is cut and paste Joe's information from the chat and put it there in the YouTube.
Okay, fine.
Good? Okay, thanks. That's one thing I don't have to do. But what I do have to do is say that it is 7 o'clock, and hello to all of the people who are here. Welcome to Tremedal Concerts. We have people joining in as we speak. And we want to thank you for bearing with us on a couple of things. First of all, that you might have thought this was Cindy Callett and Gray Larson. And if by chance you didn't get the memo that Cindy and Gray had to reschedule, don't go away, because we had an incredible consolation. It is not a consolation at all. In fact, it's a grand prize, and that's Joe.
Dean, you've got both video audios going.
Both audios?
Yeah, I'm hearing the YouTube audio. Oh, sorry. No, that's. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. That was me.
Okay, good. I thought I had muted.
Yeah.
We want to welcome you to Tremedal Concerts. And phone, don't go off now. We are a project of the Watertown El Salvador Sister City Committee. And my name is Dean Stevens. We are also co-hosting this event with the Community Church of Boston, where you can find a live feed. If you would like to put that on your social media so people will come to the YouTube channel for the Community Church of Boston, they can be watching there. Thank you if you have bought a ticket. I am grateful to you for buying a ticket. And if you have not, welcome anyway. And you're welcome to send us donations either through Joe's information, which is on the chat, or through the old-fashioned dinosaur way, which is to write a check and send it to the address that's First Parish of Watertown in the chat. We have all kinds of folks who use all kinds of different forms of payment. I want to welcome Susie Giroux, who's going to talk to us a little bit about the Watertown El Salvador Sister City Project and our awesome students in El Salvador and a bunch of other stuff. So thanks, Susie. Take it away.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. as Dean said, I'm one of the volunteers with the Watertown El Salvador Sister City project. And we began meeting and hosting this series of coffee house concerts 31 years ago. And it was a way to raise funds for our sister community, which is a little village in El Salvador called Nueva Esperanza, which means new hope. And that's a very meaningful name for this community. It's one of the repopulated villages in El Salvador. You may know that during the conflicts of the 1980s, many people had to flee their homes and seek safety in a refugee camp in Honduras or even in the mountains to escape the attacks by the Salvadoran government troops. But as the Civil War was starting to come to an end, the folks from Nueva Esperanza were among many who were determined to return to their homes, and our committee became a part of an international effort to support their return. And over the years, we have worked with this community to help them rebuild and support their farming efforts, and very importantly, to provide friendship and moral support. Dean has traveled to El Salvador many times, and another member of our committee, Susan Claw, has been to visit with the families almost every year. So we've maintained a very close relationship with them. The community is more stable now, more well established, and so the funds that we raise go toward a scholarship fund for the young people in the community. And we have one young woman who is finishing up her medical studies. We have someone who's doing environmental studies. These are wonderful young people who are very grateful for the support that we give them. And so we in turn are really grateful that that you are able to support our efforts and our friends in Nueva Esperanza. As Dean said, well, we'll be sharing the proceeds of tonight's concert with our performer. And if you've already bought a ticket, thank you. Thank you very, very much. You don't have to donate at all, but if you would like to, you can do that through PayPal, by check, and that information, as Dean said, will be posted in the chat. You are about to hear some wonderful music, so thank you. I'm sure you will enjoy the evening. Thanks, Dean. I'll send it back to you.
The theme for tonight is cicadas. They are making a racket in Bloomington, Indiana, and other places too. They haven't made it to Boston, but maybe soon they will. And isn't that a lovely, gorgeous animal? And they're supposedly delicious to eat. Some say yum and some say yuck, but we're just thinking about cicadas. I can't think of a better reason to reschedule a concert. And I want to take that down and bring something else up, which is about our co-sponsor, Community Church of Boston. We have another last minute guest, kind of like Joe, coming this Sunday to Community Church of Boston. And his name is Mazen Kumsia. Can you see that?
Yes, we can.
Professor Mazen Kumsia is a marvelous man. He has spoken 3 times before at Community Church. He is the director of the Palestine Museum of Natural History. He is based in Bethlehem, and he will be giving us an update in this really difficult moment for that geography about what's going on there. We look forward to hearing him. He is a scientist, and he tries to do science under the boot of a brutal occupation. And it's not an easy task. But in spite of that, he is an amazing leader, and he's funny, and he's engaging and wonderful. Join us on May 30th at 11 a.m. It so happens it's the same link that we're watching right now, thanks to Community Church of Boston. May 30th, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, online. And that is promising to be a very wonderful event. We will be joined by some other people from the West Bank, Islam Maraka from Hebron, very difficult situation there, and also Rana Nazal from Bethlehem, and others, musicians as well. So let's finish that, and let's spotlight me. I get to the honor and privilege of saying just thank you to Joe JENCKS for joining us tonight. This is such a treat, such a prize. And Joe is joining us from Seattle. You know about Joe through his own songs and recordings, and you know about Joe through the phenomenal, really legendary, important trio, Brother Son, which Joe was one of the founders. And we look forward to hearing more of his songs. And Joe has never played at Community Church of Boston either. And here is his invitation, if he passes the audition. Joe JENCKS, take the floor from me, so I will shut up and we get to listen to you. Thanks for joining us.
Hey,
Thank you so
Joe.
much, Dean.
Hey, Dean.
Oh, thanks, everybody. Thank you. Truly my pleasure to be here with you today. And I'll just say, for those of you that, depending on which platform you're joining us on, Zoom or YouTube Live, if you're looking for specific information about my music, I encourage you to go to joejenks.com. That's JOEJENCKS.com. And you can find more information there, including payment links, and all donations to tonight's concert are going to be split 50-50 with the organization you were hearing about that's doing great work in El Salvador with the Sister City program there in Trevandal concerts, and the other half goes to me to help me keep a roof over my head and gas in the tank. And we've entered a very strange time of touring where I have left my studio near Chicago to come to Seattle to broadcast to Boston. It's it was hard enough to figure out where I was before this, and now I'm like, wait a minute, now I'm not where I am, and I'm not where I'm going, I'm somewhere else. But it's delightful to be here with you, and this is a song called All About Love.
Don't know how to keep on walking this line between my visions and the highway sign. I don't know how to keep on striking the spark to ignite the flames that will pierce the dark. But I'm already gone if I can't live while I'm here. Yes, I'm already gone if I can't love through the fear. It's awful hard to keep from being a wreck when I feel the breath of the reaper cool on my neck. It's hard to live inside the rhyme and the rhythm of the song, to respirate my gratitude and pretend that nothing is wrong. But I'm already gone if I can't live while I'm here. Yes, I'm already gone if I can't love through the try to hold the contradictions in the palm of my hand. For every grain that tumbles, there are more that remain. But the hand that closes to a fist loses all that it contains. Let it crack wide open, let this broken heart bleed. Let it soak through the soil and nourish the seed. Let the water from my eyes be a gift to the parched land. Till all my sisters and brothers rejoice hand in hand. 'Cause I'm already gone. I can't live while I'm here. Yes, I'm already gone. If I can't love through the fear, if I can't love through the fear, sisters and brothers, we must love through the fear. It's all about love. It's all about love. It's all about love. It's all about love. It's all about It's all about love.
Thank you. For those of you in YouTube land, you can't see all of the people waving their hands to me in Zoom, but thank you very much. And yeah, so glad to be here for Tremedal Concerts. This next song is one that I wrote with a group of students in Illinois about George Washington Carver. And I realized that there are many, many important people in our nation's history, in U.S. history specifically. You may be listening from somewhere else, but who have songs written about them. And I realized that I didn't know any songs about George Washington Carver. Dr. Carver was an immense gift to many, many people. And so this is a song that I wrote with some fifth graders about Dr. Carver. Which is so much better in tune.
Peanut man, sweet potato man, cared about people, cared about the land, loved to make things grow.
You know, I've already bombed that. We're just going to start with the verse and it'll all come back in the way it's supposed to. And I know you're never supposed to admit a mistake, but I think this is an era when it's a fine thing to do. And so we're just going to rewind that for those of you that remember VHS, and we're going to start over.
Back in 1864, Diamond Grove, Missouri, a boy was born in slavery. He would change the world. Very first African American to enroll at Iowa State. He earned a bachelor and a master's degree. He really changed his fate. Peanut man, sweet potato man, cared about people, cared about the land, loved to make things grow. Dr. George Washington Carver, he was a good, good man to know. He became a scientist, a botanist profound. He loved to solve big mysteries of what grew in the ground. Sweet potato rubber, candy, soap, and glue. A professor at Tuskegee, a man whose heart was true. Peanut man, sweet potato man. Cared about people, cared about the land. Loved to work with plants and make things grow. Dr. George Washington Carver, he was a good, good man to know. Where the farmers grew all cotton and nearly killed the soil flat, he told them to grow peanuts and put the nitrogen back. Education is the key to unlock the golden door of freedom. Pay attention to the things you learn. Someday you're gonna need them. Peanut man, sweet potato man. Cared about people, cared about the land. Loved to work with plants and make things grow. Dr. George Washington Carver, he was a good, good man to know. Peanut man, sweet potato man. Cared about people, cared about the land. Loved to work with plants and make things grow. Dr. George Washington Carver, he was a good, good man to know.
Here you go, folk song about Dr. George Washington Carver. This next one is one that I wrote. I was driving from Albany to Chicago, and round about Syracuse, headed west. I imagined to myself, what would happen if Ray Charles and Dr. Seuss got together to write a song? And this song was my answer to my own question, because what else are you going to do for 12 hours or 13 hours, you know? So this song emerged. And I realized that the two of them, really in their own ways, were sort of trying to quantify the human condition. And it actually is a more natural collaboration than you might think right off the bat. And so here it is. Everybody sings the blues.
Well, I may not be the smartest man that ever walked on earth, and some of what's gone well for me might be an accident of birth. Oh, but deep inside the mystery surrounding me and you is something I've come to know and hold is deeply true. Well, you may be a woman from the right side of town, going out evenings in the finest of gowns. But one thing's for certain, you know it ain't news. Sooner or later, everybody sings the blues. Well, you may be erudite or a real cool cat, a high-priced jet setter, going this way and there. But one thing's for certain, no matter the shoes, sooner or later everybody sings the blues. Oh, lonely, we all get lonely sometimes. There's nothing anyone can do. Hang on for just another day and hope to see it through. Well, you may be ironic, you may be a clown, you may swear that you'll never wear your smile upside down. But one thing's for certain, whether you win or lose, Sooner or later, everybody sings the blues. Yes, one thing's for certain, you know it ain't news. Sooner or later, everybody sings the blues. Yes, sooner or later, everybody sings the blues. Sooner or later, everybody sings the blues.
So somebody's listening to this on Zoom and YouTube at the same time, and you need to mute yourself, please. Thank you very much. All right. This is a song that I've known would have legs since I wrote it in 2010, but it makes me sad that it is still as relevant as it is. And I wrote this down at the Carver Folk Festival in the summer of 2010. And I wrote it after there were two things that inspired it. One, I went to the Statue of Liberty, Lady of the Harbor, and looked at my granddad's name in the books there. But I also while I was traveling to the Carver Festival in Texas, a news report came over NPR that said that 4 Hopi had been arrested for not having proper citizenship paperwork or green cards. Their whole point was we were here first. And so all that sort of conspired into this song. It's called Lady of the Harbor.
From far away and distant lands, the timbers tossed with hopeful hearts and calloused hands reach toward the light, the torch held high, and cast their gaze upon the Lady of the Harbor. And she welcomes them with open arms. She says that my children here shine on, oh you Lady of the Harbor. And so it was with my own king. They sailed from Sweden and from France and Ireland, their earthly cares packed in their bags. They cast their gaze upon the Lady of the Harbor, and she welcomed them with open arms. She said, let my children here shine on, oh you Lady of the Harbor. Now we're locking down the borders and we're filling up the jails, and we say they don't belong. How conveniently do we forget that we've all come to sing the same sweet song? Will the dream survive the strain? Will huddled masses have a chance to learn its sweet refrain? Or will we fall into our fears and turn our backs against the Lady of the Harbor? And she welcomes them with open arms. shine on, oh you lady of the harbor. And she welcomes them with open arms. She says that my children need. Shine on, shine on, oh you lady of the harbor. Shine on, shine on, oh you lady of the harbor. Oh you lady of the harbor.
Thank you so much. This next song I wrote in East Wenatchee, Washington. I was doing a workshop with some, what at the time, I know there are many different acronyms in different school districts in different parts of the country, but at the time in East Wenatchee it was referred to as English as a Second Language, ESL, students, most of whom were from Mexico and Central America. And our opportunity in that moment was to find out if music truly was a universal language. I was working mostly with first-year students who were just beginning to really comprehend the specificity of English and relate it to a language that they did know, Spanish, in its many, many forms. And so our goal was to write a song together, and so they wrote things, they wrote poetry and ideas in Spanish first, and then worked with their teacher to translate them into English, and then I was able to take their words and set them to music. They were very kind about it, and at the end of the day, we did an all-school assembly, and these teens got to sing their songs for their peers in the whole school, and it was great for them to be made visible. Because even amongst the immigrant community, the newly arrived can still remain somewhat disappeared. And so it was a real privilege to stand on stage with these young people and help them tell their story in their own words. And I just provided the musical end of the collaboration and a little bit of focus. This is called Adonde Pertenezco, Where Do I Belong?
Where do I belong? Adonde pertenezco? Where do I come from? De donde vengo? Where will I go from here? Para donde iré? De aquí, de aquí. I don't have anywhere to stay. No tengo donde quedarme. Going from town to town, yendo a pueblo, to look for a better life, para buscar una vida mejor, vida mejor. We are looking for communities, buscando comunidades with better opportunities, con mejores oportunidades. But who have we left behind? ¿A quienes hemos dejado atrás? Dejado atrás. Where do I belong? ¿A dónde pertenezco? Where do I come from? ¿De dónde vengo? Where will I go from here? ¿Para dónde iré de aquí? De aquí. De aquí, de aquí, de aquí.
Thanks. This next one is a song that I wrote sitting on a dock in Maine a few years ago. I was sitting up there. It was one of those nights where the sky was so dark that you could see every star up there, it seemed. And as I looked at that great river of stars above my head, the bay that I was sitting on was as calm as a piece of glass, and I could see that same river of stars reflected below my feet. As I sat there feeling like the stuffing in a celestial Oreo, I started to think about the poetry of the Sufi mystic Rumi. Just what everybody runs to in those moments, I know, but that's where my mind went. And then after that, I landed on an old American folk song, one that's considered a bit of a chestnut by some people, but it still speaks to my heart. My parents used to sing it to each other around the campfire. And I can still hear their voices when I close my eyes, singing this verse to each other. The words were, "How often at night, when the heavens are bright, with the light from the glimmering stars, have I stood there amazed, and asked as I gazed if their glory exceeds that of ours." And that inspired this song.
One moment of mercy was all that it took to drive me clean out of my head. A piece of my heart had been sleeping so long that I had given it for dead. Better than I traveled this journey, and none have returned here unchanged. But the lilacs in bloom and the thunderhead looms, my lonely heart prays for the rain. Let it rain, oh, let it rain. Let the waters of love wash away all the pain. Let the hope of redemption be all that remains. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain. When the ancients and mariners look toward the heavens at night, do they yearn for the day? Or were they transfixed by the wonders they saw in the lights that guided their way? I need to believe that there is no sadness so great that it cannot heal. But sometimes the longing inside, it consumes me so much. Well, it's all that I feel. Let it rain, oh, let it rain. Let the waters of love wash away all the pain. Let the hope of redemption be all that remains. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain. I stand on the ledge and I cling to the edge for dear life, afraid to let go. What if love's call pulls me into a free fall? Then? Oh, tell me what then? Somewhere way out there beyond right and wrong, there's a place that I long to see. If I don't return, I'll be wishing you well from wherever I happen to be. Let it rain, let it rain, oh, let it rain. Let the waters of love wash away all the pain. Let the hope of redemption be all that remains. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain. Let it rain, oh, let it rain. Let the waters of love wash away all the pain. Let the hope of redemption be all that remains. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain.
So this concert this evening, for those of you who have joined us later, is sponsored by Tremedal Concerts, which happen normally not during pandemic in Watertown, Massachusetts. And Community Church is also helping support this event, and half the proceeds from tonight's concert will go to a program. You can go to Tremedal Concerts and find out more information about it, or if you're watching this after the fact, rewind to the beginning of the video and hear a little bit about it. But this, the other half of the proceeds that don't go to me go to help support social justice and community organizing work in Central America and El Salvador in particular. And so we invite your support. And you can make donations if you are not seeing donation links where you happen to be. They're going to be posted in the chat on the YouTube, but also you can just go to joejenks.com. JOEJENCKS.com, and there are payment links there as well. You can make donations, and I will make sure that Tremedal Concerts gets their piece of this. And thanks again to Dean Stevens and all the board members and all the volunteers that help bring all of this together. This next song is a bit whimsical. I wrote it, if you can like go in the Wayback Machine to just not quite 2 years ago, the then sitting president of the United States tried to buy Greenland. It should have stayed in the news for a good while, but it got usurped by him taking a Sharpie to National Weather Service map and trying to redirect a hurricane with the mere power of his magic wand, the Sharpie. The not so Sharpie. But yeah, believe it or not, he tried to buy Greenland and then got really, really angry with the Prime Minister of Greenland for not acquiescing to his nearly demand that they surrender Greenland. And I thought, in the spirit of Tom Lehrer and Tom Paxton and all of the other great satirical writers, that I needed to throw this one a bone because it was just too funny to let float by in the stream.
Up in the North Atlantic, there's a place that's quite well known, though not too many visit, even fewer call it home. Subjects of the Danish crown, an independent state, but you can't procure a country or just monetize their fate. It's not for sale, it's not for sale. You can throw a temper tantrum, you can rant and you can rail, but you can't have everything you want. You're not too big to fail. It's not for sale. It's not for sale. The Prime Minister of Denmark said this is quite absurd. You cannot purchase Greenland. That's the final word. You called the woman nasty 'cause she would not do your bidding. People all around the world say, man, is this guy kidding? It's not for sale. It's not for sale. You can throw a temper tantrum, you can rant and you can rail, but you can't have everything you want. You're not too big to fail. It's not for sale. It's not for sale. Now there is no fake truth, there is only fact or fiction. No blow-eating blunderbuss can reconcile the friction. A tweet is not a law, and no order can be given to make a people sell to you the country that they live in. It's not for sale. It's not for sale. You can throw a temper tantrum, you can rant and you can rail, but you can't have everything you want. You're not too big to fail. It's not for sale. It's not for sale. It's not for sale. It's not for sale. Try Iceland. It's not for sale. It's not for sale. Oh, thank you very much. Yep. Luckily, things have turned in a better direction for us and the rest of the world in terms of leadership presently around about. This next song is one that I wrote several years ago after going to the School of the Americas watch group protest down in Columbus, Georgia, outside the gates of Fort Benning, where the United States has trained people for many decades in all kinds of sort of polite, terminologies, but we have trained people to do atrocious things in other parts of the world, and countries in other parts of the world send their soldiers here to the United States to learn how to do these things. They're referred to as counterinsurgency tactics and things like that, but it's sort of tamed a bit as a result of public protest in many, many forms. So it does have an effect, but this is a little more compassionate song, drawing on those who have chosen over the years in many ways to engage in civil disobedience as an act of protest, nonviolent civil disobedience. And that's what happens down there, is that there's a public demonstration, and then some people choose to cross on to the military base peacefully as a form of civil protest and get arrested in order to draw attention to what they believe to be an incredibly unjust situation. So this is called Crossing Over. Crossing over, crossing over, for our children and their children. May the wars forever cease. Crossing over, crossing over, we will give ourselves to justice. We will cross this line for peace. Follow in the footsteps of Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, and Gandhi. In the words of Eugene Debs, spoken from a prison cell, well, there's a soul that's captive, we shall not be free. Crossing over, crossing over, for our children children and their children. May the wars forever cease. Crossing over, we will give ourselves to justice. We will cross this line for peace. What defines a prison? Is it only walls and bars, or is it hunger and poverty that bind us? When we waste our wealth on the machinery of war, we are stealing from our future, and we say no mas, no more. Cruzando, cruzando, a los niños y sus hijos, que las guerras cesen ya. Cruzando, cruzando, nos entregamos para la justicia. Cruzaremos por la paz. Some endure the shackles of injustice every day, for their gender or their race, or the way they choose to pray, for the millions who are crying, for the innocent and dying, for the hope of every nation. We must find a better way. Crossing over, for our children and their children. May the wars forever cease. Crossing over, we will give ourselves to justice. We will cross this line for peace. Cruzando, cruzando, pa los niños y sus hijos, que las guerras cesen ya. Cruzando, cruzando, nos entregamos para la justicia. Cruzaremos por la paz. We will give ourselves to justice. We will cross this line for peace.
Yeah, I'm going to grab a little sip of water here. Thank you. Most of you are used to seeing me broadcast from my studio near Chicago. And I am on a camping trip, and it just turned out that the Tremedal Concerts needed a pinch hitter tonight, and so I was happy to step up to the plate. But I am working with a subset of most of my normal broadcasting gear, and in a place that I'm not used to being, but it's quite lovely. I really appreciate the change of surroundings. I've grown accustomed to living in my little carpeted box in the basement, and it's quite delightful to have a change of pace and stare at artwork on somebody else's walls for a change. So it's really sweet to be here with you this evening, and I've got some more songs for you. This next one I wrote, it feels a little bit like a lost Rodgers and Hart song or Rodgers and Hammerstein piece, but I wrote this song several years ago, it's possible the rest of the musical is yet waiting to move through me and come into the world, and maybe this was the first pebble in the pond, but it's called Given Myself to Love, and I want to dedicate this song tonight to a dear friend who died in December as a result of COVID, Sharon Hilberg, and she was here in Seattle. And this is the first time I've been here since she passed. And so in some ways that grief is now real to me because I come here where she was and she isn't here. And I think a lot of people are wrestling with how to respond to so much loss over the last 15, 16 months. And I think the only thing we can do is keep giving ourselves to love. And I hit a tough point in my life, and I was thinking of Kate Wolf's song, Given Myself to Love. And I looked up at the heavens. Kate has long since passed, sadly, but her music and her spirit remain. And I looked up at the heavens and I said, Kate, I have given myself to love. Now what? And it felt like her answer back to me. Like I said, filtered through Rogers and Hart, but it was that response that in the face of unthinkable loss, unimaginable loss, all we can do is keep loving to the best of our ability in all ways.
I've given myself to flights of fancy to see what's around the next bend. I've given myself to things that are broken to put them together again. I've given up hope and I've given my best. It all depends on the day. I've given up so many things that I wanted, and still the sun rises each day. Some measure life by their losses and gains. For them there is never enough. But I measure life by the hearts I have known. For I've given myself to love. I've given the money I had in my pocket to someone in obvious need. I've given myself to the kindness of strangers, and I've given thanks for good deeds. I've given solace and I've given comfort. I've given a hand to a friend. I've given myself to the things I believe, though sometimes I don't know to what end. Some measure life by their losses and gains. For them there is never enough. But I measure life by the hearts I have known. For I've given myself to love. Some people say that they have no regrets, that life's just a roll of the dice. But I say if you live life paying attention, you see that.
That's a great line. I can't believe I just spaced it.
Some people say that they have no regrets. Life's just a roll of the dice. But I say if you live life paying attention, you see.
Huh?
You see that each choice has its price.
There we go. You see that each choice has its price. Good Lord. That's what traveling to a place with all of this oxygen that they have here at sea level with all these green trees in Seattle has done to my brain. I've left pieces of my brain along the highway from Chicago to here, but there we are.
Some people say that they have no regrets. Life's just a roll of the dice. But I say if you live life paying attention, you see that each choice has a price. I've given some people more than they bargained, and others still cause for concern. I've given myself to the fire of passion, and I have been willingly burned. And just when it seems that the story's over, and all that remains is goodbye, there is one thing of which you can be certain: I'll always give love one more try. Some measure life by their losses and gains. For them there is never enough. But I measure life by the hearts I have known. For I've given myself to love. Yes, I measure life by the hearts I have known. For I've given myself to love.
Thank you. Still staying on the horse, however wobbly here. I'm about to head out into the wilderness for several days. I'm pretty excited about that. I have 8.5 acres of trees that I pay property taxes on every year over on the east side of the Columbia River outside of Wenatchee. And it's in the heart of orchard country in Washington State. And I've been singing this song since I was a kid. My sister gave me a copy of Pete Seeger and Arlo Guthrie live at Carnegie Hall, and I learned this song when I was 8 years old off of that record. Arlo Guthrie sang it, and Pete sang harmony with him. But it was not until I moved to Washington State in 1994 that I really spent time in the heart of fruit-growing country up here. And I really started to appreciate what this song was about in a different way. Words written in 1948 by Woody Guthrie, music in 1959 by Marty Hoffman.
The crops are all in and the peaches are rotting. The oranges are stacked in their creosote dumps. They're flying you back to the Mexico border to pay all your money to wait back again. Our father's own father, he waded that river. He took all the money that he made in his life. My brothers and sisters, they worked in the fruit trees, rode the big trucks till they took down and died. Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita, adios, mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. Won't have a name when you ride the big aeroplane. All they will call you will be deportees. Some of us are illegal, and others not wanted. Work season ends and we have to move on. 600 miles to the Mexico border. They chase us like outlaws, like rustlers and thieves. We died in your hills and we've died in your deserts. We died in your valleys, we've died in your plains. We've died in your trees and we've died in your deserts. We've died in deserts, we died just the same. Maria. You won't have a name when you ride the big aeroplane. All they will call you will be deportees. Sky plane caught fire over Los Gatos Canyon. Like a fireball and lightning shook all our hills. Who are these friends all scattered like dried leaves? The radio says they are just deportees. Is this the best way we can grow your big orchards? Is this the best way we can grow your good fruit? To fall like dried leaves and rot on your topsoil, to be known by no name except deportees. Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita, adios, mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have a name when you ride the big aeroplane. All they will call you will be deportees. Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita, adios, mis amigos, Jesus y Maria. You won't have a name when you ride the big airplane. All they will call you will be deportees. It's all they will call you will be deportees.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Woody Guthrie's Deportees. This next one is one that I wrote. I think it might have been the first song I wrote in Seattle, close to it, after I moved here in 1994. And I was thinking a little bit about my dad. He died in 1991. He died when I was 19. And I have this image of him. We were hiking in the Ozarks down in Arkansas, and I have this picture of him both in my mind and a physical picture of him being ahead of me on the trail and looking back over his shoulder like, you coming? You know, because I was lagging back looking at something. And that image stayed in my head, and somehow it became the nugget of inspiration for this song.
As I was walking down the only road I knew, I came upon a place where that one road turned to two. I took the one that seemed less worn. I did the best I could till I happened on a wise man on the road out in the woods. He looked at me a moment, he looked up at the sky. He turned as if about to speak, but all he did was sigh. So I ventured forth the question. I said, surely you must know, will the road that I now travel take me where I want to go? He said, do it for the power and you'll surely be a slave. Do it for the glory and you'll find it in the grave. Do it for the find your smile. Do it for the singing, and you've gone the extra mile. I still had some questions I thought might clear the air. I turned around to ask and found he was no longer there. I thought maybe this was God I saw as I got down on my knees. But soon enough I heard my answer in the wind blowing through the trees. It said, do it for the power and you'll surely be a slave. Do it for the glory and you'll find an early grave. Do it for the laughter and you'll surely find your smile. Do it for the singing and you've gone the extra mile. Many moons have come and gone, now and then I go astray. But I come back to the path, 'cause for me it's the only way. Well, I do not have much money, but I find I have more time to seek the answers that I need in the eyes of those I find. They say do it for the power and you'll surely be a slave. Do it for the glory and you'll find an early grave. Do it for the laughter and you'll surely find your smile. Do it for the singing and you've gone the extra mile. They say do it for the power and you'll surely be a slave. Do it for the glory and you'll find an early grave. Do it for the laughter and you'll surely find your smile. Do it for the singing.
Thanks so much. I got one more song for you tonight. Thanks again to Dean Stevens, to all the folks at Tremedal Concerts. Thanks to those of you who've tuned in for your support of this. Again, to clarify, all contributions to this evening's concert, tickets and donations, it all gets split 50-50 between Tremedal and myself. My piece, of course, goes to help keep gas in the tank and a roof over my head in these very bizarre times. The other half goes to El Salvador directly, from Tremedal to El Salvador, to help out with social justice work and community organizing work in El Salvador. So thanks so much for your support. You can go to the concert. You can just Google Tremedal, Tremedal, Tremedal Concerts. You can also find information on joejenks.com, JOEJENCKS.com. There are payment links posted both on YouTube in the chat and in Zoom here for those of you here. And also on my website, and so please help support this very worthy cause. And I'm going to close out with a song that I learned from the Library of Congress Folk Archives. I received a small grant last summer to do some research into the archives and put together a video recorded concert, and I focused all on a prison in Florida, the Rayford Prison, and 3 days in 1939, June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, when John A. Lomax and his second wife, Ruby Tiro Lomax, spent 3 days at the prison recording songs there and capturing a piece of true American culture and spirit and issues of social justice. You know, they were very aware, even in 1939, that a disproportionate number of people of color were being incarcerated, and their way of being activists about it was to take recording equipment into the prisons and record the songs that the prisoners were singing and capture their stories so that they could be told to future generations. And thankfully, the archives of American folk life, the folk archives at the Library of Congress, have done just that. They have preserved this piece of our history so that we can learn from it and, God willing, not repeat it. So you can find that video online. You can find links to it through my website. It's several songs in that concert, but I'm going to close out with one of those songs, a blues song in a sense that many people know, but they only know a few verses of it. And by sitting down and listening to the original field recording, I was able to transcribe much of the original recording, and then I was invited by the curators of the folk archives to bring my songwriting to bear in the process as well, so that it's a living tradition. And there were some verses that I could only catch one or two words of, but I could still feel the cadence of it. And so this is what I transcribed, but a couple of the verses are sort of anthropological songwriting, if you will, working with what was there and what I could hear and filling in the gaps. And so I'll leave you with this. It's called Take This Hammer.
Take this hammer, hammer and give it to the captain. Take this hammer, hammer and give it to the captain. Take this hammer, hammer and give it to the captain. Tell him I'm gone, Lord, tell him I'm gone. If he asks you, was I running? If he asked you, was I running? If he asked you, was I running? Tell him I was flying, Lord, tell him I was flying. Captain, this old hammer too heavy. Captain, this old hammer too heavy. Captain, this old hammer too heavy. For the likes of man, for the like of man. Must be the hammer that killed John Henry. Must be the hammer that killed John Henry. Must be the hammer that killed John Henry. But it won't kill me, Lord, it won't kill me. Don't you make me wear these old cold shackles. Don't you make me wear these old cold shackles. Don't you make me wear these old cold shackles. 'Cause it wounds my soul, Lord, it wounds my soul. This old hammer shine like silver. This old hammer shine like silver. This old hammer shine like silver. But it rings like gold, Lord, it rings like gold. Lord, I'm coming to that Jordan water. Lord, I'm coming to that Jordan water. Lord, I'm coming to that Jordan water. Don't you let me drown, don't you let me drown. Take this hammer and give it to the captain. Take this hammer and give it to the captain. Take this hammer and give it to the captain. Tell him I'm gone, Lord, tell him I'm gone. Tell him I'm gone, Lord, tell him I'm gone. Tell him I'm gone, Lord, tell him I'm gone.
Yeah.
Thanks so
Awesome,
much for joining us
Joe.
this evening.
That's great, Joe.
Thanks so much for being with us this evening, Tremedal Concerts. And stay tuned to their website for potential live events in the fall and reopening. And thanks again to Dean Stevens and everybody involved in making this happen.
Woo, 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 woo.
All right, Joe. Thanks so much.
I'm trying to find myself.
Aren't we all, Dean? Aren't we all?
I'm trying to find myself in a little rectangle so I can say thank you, Joe. That was just wonderful from the other coast. And oh, there it is. There it is. I found myself. And tell everybody that it just so happens there's 2 more shows coming up on this same platform, Tremedal Concerts. One of them is June 11th, and his name, and he's a magnificent songwriter, is David Dodson. Friday, June 11th. The other one is Friday, June 25th, and out of modesty, I won't toot my own horn, but that one's name is Dean Stevens. But I will toot the horn of the special guest who will be with me, Teresa Tuduri. Teresa Tuduri, our beloved. She lives now in New Mexico, right outside of El Paso, Texas, and she'll be with us, and I'm very excited about that program. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. I have a little icing on the cake here to end with, and it is my friend. Oh boy, I lost him. Oh no! I had a little video. I'm going to look for it, and I'm going to talk to you while I find it, because it's too good to be true. His name is Eric Kilburn. He is my studio engineer. He recorded a whole bunch of records with me, and I love this little piece of I can't find it now. Why did it go away on me? Of satirical nonsense that he wrote, and I swear that I will find it. I will find it for you, and I will entertain you while I find it by telling you that this song is called "The Boy from Mar-a-Lago." And I will go back to the email that he sent me, and I will cut and paste into Safari so you can see "The Boy from Mar-a-Lago" to end us here. There we almost there. There we go. Yes. Now I need to share screen and share sound and optimize video, and then I will not bore you by, there we go. I think we've got it. Can you see it? I just need to start it.
Yes,
there
we
it
can
is.
see it, Dean. Yes.
Tall and fat and lumbering slowly, the boy from Mar-a-Lago is golfing, and when he passes, the women he passes say, ew. Expecting crowds of cheering sycophants, a practiced air of swaggering arrogance, the boy from Mar-a-Lago sees no one around. Face of spray tan and insomnia. Why doesn't somebody tell him? Say, has anyone heard from Melania? So many things used to annoy her. Now she just wants a good lawyer. Gone are days of grabbing women, so many lawsuits, his head is swimming. The boy from Mar-a-Lago is golfing alone. a disconnect when you think you're a hero and most of the country thinks you're a zero, a fiddling Nero when the nation needed you. Tax returns can no longer be stonewalled. The High Court says that he must release them. Stormy won't even return his phone calls, and his old pal Jeffrey is through. What's a narcissist lecture to do? Tall and fat and waddling slowly, the boy from Mar-a-Lago is golfing, and when he passes, the lads and lasses go, ew. They all go, ew. They all go, ew.
Billy Novick, Jesse Williams, Eric Schwartz, Eric Kilburn, the video by Christos Tsiaras.
That was great, Dean.
Back.
I'm going to call Eric and tell him I liked it.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Is everybody, everybody's checked out? Joe is checked out, and we're going to check out now. When is the concert you're talking about? Oh, no. May 30th. Oh, that's
The same day as yours, Dean, yes. And we're doing similar, for similar reasons. And
at the same time?
Ours starts at 12, yours starts at 11.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I wish I could be at yours, and I wish you could be at mine. But
Well, it'll be recorded on Community Church of Boston channel.
and ours will be. We have a YouTube channel for Musicians for the Greater Good. It'll be archived there as well.
Very good. I'll